It was March 8th, 2020, and I was to bring the morning message for the downtown United Church of Christ congregation I was serving in Seattle, Washington. My message that day was why love wins. We didn't realize it at the time, but in just a couple more days, the world would be shutting down. We would all be isolating and keeping ourselves separated from one another in order to keep each other safe, as an example of why love wins. Clear across the country, another United Church of Christ was preparing to do exactly the same thing, the St. John's United Church of Christ here in Fullerton. You took great measures in those days of challenge to find ways to do what was essential, to be the church, no matter what. And so you would worship, you would love, you would serve in some striking and challenging new ways. You found the way to worship through Zoom and later on live streaming worship so that you could be a part of one another's lives each and every week. You had programming that you could watch on Zoom, music that was shared, vacation Bible school in a box that would be sent to kids' homes, visitation that would move from in-person house-to-house visits to cards and calls, doing whatever was necessary in order to make sure that every person knew they were cared for, that everyone knew that they were loved. Striking message of this Holy Week for each one of us as we're now 2 years later and starting to emerge from this pandemic is that that message 2 years ago is still true today. Love wins. In the face of all that we have been going through, God has still shown God's presence, God's care, God's love with each one of us. We've been able to experience how love wins because we've taken the measures that have been necessary to help one another, to be present for one another, to meet needs even when we weren't sure how in the world we would do it. It would be just a few weeks later when we all thought, oh, Easter's just around the corner. Surely we'll be done with this pandemic life by then. But no, it's about 2 years later instead. And here we are. We've begun to make it through. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer to days of togetherness and celebration, days of social activity and sharing and study, days of eating meals together and playing together, all because we're holding fast to a message that has stirred our heart and warmed our soul. It is the message of God's love for each one of us and the reminder that love wins. May God bless you as you share in your journey down the road to the empty tomb. And may you experience a magnificent Easter day.